With the formation of West Ham United to take over from the demise of the Ironworks team, a new team was assembled for the start of the 1900-01 football season. The directors had appointed a new trainer. Tom Robinson from the Ironworks was not retained and his place was taken by Abraham NORRIS. The new team would take the spot of the Ironworks in the Southern League for the forthcoming season. There would be, though, some familiar faces as West Ham United run out for the first ever game on the 1st of September 1900 at the Memorial Grounds in Canning Town. Thames' last ever Southern League game in the April of 1900 was a 1-0 victory over local East London rivals Millwall, and two of the team that played that day walked out for West Ham as they faced Gravesend. They were Charlie Dove and Rod McEACHRANE. Walter Trantor and Charles Craig were also survivors from the Thames Ironworks days, leaving 7 new faces for the supporters to get to know for the Canning Town based team. The team in full that would lead the way as pioneers of the club were as follows. Number 1 and the goalkeeper Hughie Monteith. A Scottish-born keeper, signed from Bristol City, played for 2 seasons for the Hammers before joining Bury in 1902. At Bury he would start as they won the FA Cup in 1903, just a year later, beating Derby County 6-0 in the final. At the back you had Walter Trantor, a Middlesbrough-born defender, and he was listed in the 1901 census as a boilermaker and a professional footballer while he was living in Plaistow. He left the Thames to join Chatham in 1899, but then rejoined as the new West Ham United was formed in time to start the season. After 1 season he left again, joining Distillery in Belfast. Charles Craig, another Scot, joined from Dundee. He originally worked at the Tate's factory before jumping over to the Thames Ironworks, possibly to be able to play football for the Works team. He left West Ham to join Nottingham Forest. Charlie Dove, Poplar-born star of the Ironworks team, was a shipwrighter by trade, following his father into the Ironworks. Legend has it that West Ham's switch to claret and blue was indirectly down to him. The story is his father was supposed to have been a sprinter of some note and was at a fair in Birmingham around 1899 when he was challenged to a race by a group of players from Aston Villa. Villa were the league champions at the time and a dominant force in Football League. Charlie's father is said to have won the race and took a supply of Aston Villa kits as settlement of the debt. The problem I find is many reports say the race winner was Charlie's dad and was called Bill Dove, but Charlie's Dove's father was actually called George. It's possible the story has merit, but we must acknowledge that the race was held in 1899 and West Ham didn't even use claret and blue until 1903. By which time Charlie himself had joined Millwall, a contentious move even back then. Luke RAISBECK. Scottish-born Luke was recruited from Middlesbrough for the new season. Only managed to play 4 games for the Hammers before departing at the end of the season. While at West Ham, he lived with Albert Kay and his family in Benson Avenue, East Ham, and also lodging there was the goalkeeper Hughie Monteith. Rod McEACHRANE, another Scot. It is said he stood just over 5'6" tall and played for the Ironworks and West Ham. He was the first player to accumulate over 100 games combined between the 2 clubs, scoring 6 goals. Rod worked as a boilermaker in the Ironworks and lived in Poplar in the same house as former Thames Ironworks coach Tom Robinson. Tom himself would rejoin the Hammers coaching staff in later years. Rod left to join Woolwich Arsenal in 1902, and there he would help them gain promotion and play over 300 games for the then South London based team, but he did so without scoring 1 single goal. Fergus Hunt, he was born in Rotherham, Yorkshire, joined West Ham, himself from Woolwich Arsenal, but he continued to live in Plumstead. He played 48 times for West Ham in 2 seasons, scoring 10 goals, including 1 in this opening game. He then moved back to Arsenal in 1902, but also played for Fulham later in his career. In midfield we had William GRASSAM, Scottish born, joined the Hammers from Port Vale. He was living in Canning Town while playing for West Ham. He became the first West Ham United player to score a goal and also to score a hat-trick after netting 4 times in this game. He scored an amazing 41 goals in 78 games before moving to Manchester United and then came back to West Ham in 1905. He was not as prolific upon rejoining us, but he did stay for another 4 seasons before having a short spell at Brentford. He then moved to America to live out his days in Buffalo. James Reid, another Scot, who also came from Port Vale with Billy GRASSAM. Born in the same house as GRASSAM in Canning Town, he scored 5 goals in 13 games before moving on to Gainsborough Trinity. James Reid himself scored 2 goals in this opening game. Albert Kay was born in Derbyshire and his first club was Sheffield Wednesday. We signed him from Chatham along with TRANTOR, but he would only stay the 1 season, scoring just 2 goals in 14 games. He was also in digs with Luke RAISBECK and HUGHIE Monteith. And the last player was Frederick Frenton, born in Gainsborough, Lincolnshire, and joined us from his home-time club. Another who lasted just the 1 season. He played 19 games, scoring 3 goals before he moved on to Swindon Town. Considering the capacity of the Memorial Grounds was rumoured to be approaching 100,000, the attendance only hitting 3,000, it would also be the lowest crowd of the season. But they were treated to the best possible start from the Hammers. West Ham had the biggest win of the day, and the crowd would have gone home happy with perhaps renewed confidence in this team that they in fact could have a successful season. The team photo that is classed as being the first known official team photo of West Ham shows another player, Fred Corbett. He is said to possibly be the first black player to play for West Ham. He was another player to carry over from the Ironworks team. Fred was a Canning Town boy who worked in the Ironworks just as did his father. In 3 seasons though, he only managed 38 games before leaving his local team to join Bristol Rovers. Checking through the records, it seems this picture is a lineup from the Bristol City game played on the 29th of September 1900. In the photo, Billy GRASSAM is shown out of kit and also not shown playing. Who would play most of the games this season was possibly the man who would be called the godfather of West Ham, Sid King. In the next episode, we'll take a look at the man who would take this club into league football and onto the first FA Cup final to be played at Wembley, Sid King. Until next time, thanks for watching.